just give 2 more minutes, 1 more minute now, because it's now 4 minutes past 11, for you to go ahead and share the link on your socials. If you know anyone that had recommended you and they hadn't joined, please reach out to them and let them know that we shall start in a few. This is not an opportunity that anyone should miss. So go ahead and continue to invite other people. Also, if you're here with us, please, we would like to know who you are and where you're joining us from. The chat is open. Please feel free to use the chat, introduce yourself. Let us know what some of your expectations are, what you're looking forward to in this training, so that we can leave no stone unturned. Yeah. Please go ahead and introduce yourself. As we do that, my name is Natasha Katondwachi. I am an entrepreneur. I have a background in IT. I'm also a programs manager. Today, I stand here with the heart of your moderator for the Future of Work Career Essentials series, implemented by Bakash Media Foundation in partnership with the Innovation Village. And basically, we're going to be speaking all things future of work. This program targets undergraduates and entry-level professionals in central Uganda that are seeking to enhance their employability and also pursue meaningful careers. So participants are typically between 18 to 30 and come from diverse academic backgrounds. And we basically want to tackle what the future of work looks like right now, based on all the trends. And we have some knowledgeable facilitators that are going to help us, guide us through this series. And we will also have a Q&A session at the end, so that if you have any questions at all, we can engage and also tackle those areas. So we'll have a brief introduction from one of the representatives from the Career Essentials program at Bakash Media Foundation. And then we'll get into the training. I'll invite our facilitators much later on. Once that's done, we'll have a Q&A session. And then we'll also have a poll later, right before our facilitators give the parting shots, just so that you can give us some feedback. And then we'll also take a group photo at the end. So I'll request everyone, if you can, at the end, I'll need you to kindly turn on your camera so that we can take a group photo for purposes of accountability, but also media. So I'll go ahead. It's now 7 minutes past 11. So we're scheduled to have this session for exactly 1 hour. So you're very welcome, everyone that has joined us. This session is also being recorded. For those that have not been able to join us, I'm pretty sure that the Bakash Media Foundation will do a good job to share the recording later. So at this juncture, I'd like to welcome a representative from Bakash Media Foundation to kindly give us a brief intro about the Career Essentials program, the Future of Work series, and what participants should expect. Bruno?
Hello, Natasha, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, my network is bad, but I want to thank everyone for joining. I'll take off the task of briefly talking about the Career Essential Future of Work series. This is a program Bakash Media Foundation has been pushing in its agenda since 2019, and it is until recently that we realized we had to start focusing on a few thematic areas. So this series of trainings are focusing on the future of work, which means that we're looking at how we prepare for the ever-changing demands of the job market. So what you should expect is around 20 trainings that are about the future of work. These are going to be both virtual and physical, but most of them are going to be virtual for purposes of the demand from the audience. So we shall have around 15 virtual, with this the first one, and at least 3 which will be physical in different universities. So these are targeting graduates as well as they're targeting finalists as well as graduates. And this means that if you're a finalist student, let's say at campus, and you're not yet sure what you're going to do within your work, the workspace, this is an opportunity for you to explore and hear what the thought leaders in the career space are saying. So buckle up and expect the best from us. Yes, so we shall share a link in the chats for those that are interested in the coming sessions. And please mind that these sessions are completely free. All you have to do is spare some time and log on and listen and be able to give us feedback for us to improve. So thank you so much, Natasha, and my team that is online today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, our trainers. I saw Danze already on. I also want to thank the trainers for this particular session. Thank you so much and have a blessed discussion.
Thank you so much, Bruno. And thank you so much, the Bakash Media Foundation and the Innovation Village for making this possible for us. I think this is definitely a session worth having. We have very high rates of unemployment and we have many graduates that are getting into the job scene. And I think this is something that would definitely be important for us as young people, especially as we try to build our career, but also for purposes of personal development. So I would encourage all participants to go ahead and follow all the social media pages of Bakash Media Foundation so that you keep up to date on all the sessions that are coming in the future and so that you're among the first people to know, such that you don't miss out on a learning opportunity like this one. So we'll get straight into it. Like already introduced, we'll be covering the future of work series, and there's a couple of topics to cover in there. And one of our facilitators is already on the call, Mr. Edwin Danze. He's the chief marketing officer with Next Media, and he has vast knowledge in the area of future of work, especially within the digital domain. And so he has a few nuggets to share with us. So I'd like to invite you, Edwin. The floor is yours, please.
All right. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'm loud and clear. Yeah, nice to see everyone here. Hi, Natasha, nice to meet you. Meet you again and the rest of the team. So I normally like to do these things by, the beautiful thing is now I can see almost everyone's name here. Okay, so my task is basically to, I think, share useful information with you because I've been a young person myself. This is my last year as a young person in quotes, because I'm peaking past a certain age where I'll be considered a millennial, I would say. But I've managed to use these initiatives because, I mean, they're taking time off their busy days, or they're taking time to put into consideration that young people need capacity building. And these things are very important because as a current employer right now, it's always better to get someone that's panel beat, for lack of a better word, or someone that's ready for a very fast-paced and evolving workplace. And yeah, so kudos to you guys for always doing these things. It's very, very important that you always do these things. So briefly about myself, currently the Chief Marketing Officer at Next Media. It's very important for you to willingly be open to sharing who you are and what you do. It gives you confidence internally, and at the same time, it allows people to know a bit about you, so they'll know how to relate to you in a way. So that's just one of the key insights that you need to know, no matter what position you're in right now in your life, whether you're an intern, whether you're someone that's just simply staying at home. It's always important to let people know who you are. Yeah, so a couple of things that I noted down that I feel like I'll be able to share, because I was given certain things to talk about: adaptability, continuous learning, AI, which I'm someone that I'm very excited about, networking, getting an entrepreneurial mindset, and things like that. So I'll try and touch one-on-one on these things. I see the other speaker is already here, and I think maybe Natasha, you just advise, maybe I could tackle one thing, later tackle another thing, things like that. I don't know whether that's the format you want us to do this, or I just go ahead and touch on all things.
Yeah, you can cover all things that you have. Each of the facilitators has 15 minutes. So,
cool.
yeah.
So, adaptability. So I started working when I was at the university, and this job that I took on was a volunteer role. It was a very uncomfortable space for me to be in because, one, the course I was doing at university was industrial and fine art. Inevitably, I thought my trajectory is going to lead me to fashion, design, etc. And my first job kind of threw me in that space. I was working for Sylvia Wari. She was a renowned fashion designer back in the day, arguably still one of the biggest that are out there in Uganda, but she's recently changed career paths. So being put in that space, because one, I'm not a fashion designer. I've never been a person that's very fashion forward until I got into this space. I found that the opportunities that this gave me was to, one, adapt to the fashion space. Meaning I want to have to deal with people like models, model agents, people that are very stylish, people that understand the finest things in life. If you're talking about beverages that you're consuming, these are people that drink wine. You get it? They are very high. They know high society. I was nothing like that. So what did I do? I had to learn and adapt in those spaces. There are things that I had to put in mind, that there is no particular week that I'm going to go to work that is going to be the same. It was impossible. I focused, or I gave myself a task and said, in my first 3 months in working in this fashion space, I am going to learn the lingo, I am going to learn the ways of work, and most importantly, I am going to have to readjust my emotional intelligence levels to understand that now you're in a place or you're surrounded by people that you may not exactly understand. Adaptability is very important. Let me fast forward to where I am right now in a space of media. Media dictates that you're going to talk to and meet every single person with different parts: politicians, creatives, artists, religious people, you name it. That means you have to make yourself aware. You have to get knowledge on different cultures. You have to get knowledge in different ways of communicating. You have to get knowledge on how to associate. You get it? It can't be that Danze, let's say I'm an introvert, I'm going to go into this place. If that person doesn't vibe with me, I won't deal with that. You must change. You must find ways of working within those. Don't change your what's the word? Don't change your character per se, and don't change your beliefs and the things that you stand by. That's very important because that defines you, but you must change how you work with people. For instance, since the lockdown, at X Media, we experienced what we call a shift in media consumption. People used to watch TV and listen to radio. Right now, they simply want to consume all this stuff on their smartphones. That meant that we had to adapt to emerging media trends. We had to change the way we were delivering content to our customers or advertisers. There was no in between because the market dictated that. So adaptability means you learn, you teach yourself things that are going to make you uncomfortable, but most importantly is move with the trends. For example, these things used to be very physical, but now Zoom exists. You won't find that Meets exists. So remote working is the new way of working. So have a flexible mindset, be open-minded, but just make sure that you don't change your character to fit into a particular workspace. So that's adaptability, I would say. So technology is involved there. Learn that, one, this is almost your office almost anywhere, especially for the younger people that could be on this call. Your smartphone becomes your office. Use WhatsApp Business, for example. Learn how to sell your things using platforms that are directly in the place of customers or consumers. Yeah, so that's briefly on adaptability. The other thing I was supposed to talk about was continuous learning. So there's a thing that along the way I've learned to do and something that we really promote a lot at Next Media, or almost all the other companies that I run or work with, is you're never going to find the same, you're never going to use the same solution for the same problem all the time. The solution will always change. For example, I'll reference media because that's where I am at the moment. You'll find that multiple people these days don't watch TV for more than 2 hours. The maximum they're going to give you is 30 minutes. Why 30 minutes? Is because they have way too many options and you're potentially just on a list as well. No one is going to get their remote and choose a channel and stay there and watch it the entire day. No, they're just going to go and watch a bit of a product there and move away. For example, I'm a huge fan of something called Bump Love on NTV. I work for NBS, but I take time and watch that show. Why? Because it meets my specific needs or my interests. Because one, my friends are on the show. Secondly, they're tackling things that I want to learn about women. You get it? Things that are important to me because of the age that I am beginning to approach, because I have a daughter now, so I must learn how to deal with my child. So that's very, very important that you need to know. Continuous learning means that if you're going to, let's say, change jobs or regions, or you're given a task, there's the thing they call strategy in advertising and communication. You're going to have this communication strategy that you're going to do for a beverage company, that you're going to do for your personal business. You may be selling shoes on WhatsApp or on Instagram or X. You're going to find that they're female buyers, but they're young female buyers, and then they're old buyers. There's different tacticals to approaching all these people. So continuous learning is very important. Now, I am personally a person that is self-taught when it comes to digital marketing, for example. By the time I was going through university, there was no such thing as, there was no course like digital marketing course. But right now, you'll find that Google Skills School is offering this stuff for free. So get there, get a free course, get a certificate. It's very important. Why? Because the people that are going to hire you in these tech companies simply want a certificate in digital marketing from Google or for any other certified place. For those of you that have the capability and the resources to go to the university, do so. It's very important for you to learn from those places. So don't limit your mindset to, let's say, you must go through this well-renowned university. No, take time and utilize platforms that are giving you free information. Why? They are going to give you the best information because they are also trying to collect data on how best to improve their service offering. So continuous learning is very, very important. Take time to learn from older people. Invest in mentorship. It's extremely important. I am a C-suite leader right now. I'm in top management at one of Uganda's biggest media houses, but have a lot to learn from, say, a CEO or a deputy group CEO. You get it? So continuous learning is very, very important. Ask, and ask. Don't get tired of asking, because that's how you learn. And remember, the world is fast-paced. You're never going to do the same thing for a long period of time. Yeah. So that's briefly about continuous learning. The other thing is, let me finish with AI. Let me jump to networking. I'll come back to AI. So networking is important. Now I'll use myself as a case study. I'm this guy who will walk into a room and look out for my friends, or look out for people that kind of like dress the same way, or a certain age group and things like that. Now, what's the disadvantage of doing that? That means I'm limiting my scope to the people that are already probably in agreement with me, that won't challenge me that much. Networks are very important, be it in a particular room or be it in a community that you're going to join. How do networks bring value to your life personally or to your businesses in the long run? Networks are the #1 way to convert. What do I mean by converting? Every single time you're given an opportunity to walk into a room of 5 people, make sure that those 5 people are going to become leads to your businesses. If you can convert one of them to be a customer or to be interested enough to refer you, you've done something very, very important. Let me try and transfer that into the digital space. I am very active on X. Why? Because I feel like they are very impactful and influential people on that platform. What I tweet, I'm very calculated in what I tweet. Why? Because I want to attract a certain level of person to follow me and also to be willingly to engage in a conversation I've started. It's very important. Feel free to always strike a balance, have fun on this platform, but at the same time, use them as network building opportunities. Why? Because people only buy from people, not from brands. It's something I've experienced for a very long time. People are much more comfortable dealing with a human face than a thing that we call the brand. For example, people don't watch NBS TV because it has amazing graphics, because it's available on all platforms. People are going to watch NBS TV because, one, they've trusted it. Secondly, there's an anchor like Kanore Mugume who they believe in, who is sharing good updates, so they are comfortable with that brand. So that network they want to surround themselves with. You get me? So networks are very, very important. Make sure you grow them, but as a very good young professional, ensure that your networks are beneficial to you. Use them. Use them to uplift yourself. Keep your good friends. Your friends are good and your network of friends is good, but maximize networks that are going to bring a lot more value to you in the long run. These are free business places for you, you get me? Okay, then the other thing I would like to touch on would be the entrepreneur mindset. It's something I've tried to learn for the past 2 years. I would say I've been quite lucky, in quotes, in my career, because one, I lead by my work. People see something and say, who did this? They call me, are you interested in working here? Or are you interested in taking on this opportunity? Most times it will be yes. But the entrepreneur mindset dictates that, one, for me, and other people may give different angles to this. The way I approach it is, I don't offer myself up to almost all opportunities. Why? I'm good at certain things. The way I run my business right now, because my business is really mainly around capacity building, gaming, and providing solutions to companies around youth content. So I make myself available to opportunities that are very, very to my advantage. For example, I focus on my niches. I focus on things that I'm very good at, so that any given time I'm put in a boardroom or put in front of a number of people, I am going to nail it. I take risks a lot, yes, I do, but I avoid risks that are going to damage my brand. What do I mean? You will find that I'm not the best person when it comes to politics. Yet I work in a media house, but I'm very good. But when I'm having a conversation about politics on how to best communicate, I'll be beneficial to that particular conversation. But I won't go into discussions around politics, policy, and all those things. No, there I'm putting myself at a disadvantage. I would rather refer someone that's good in that space to deal with that. Secondly, look for something, or always be on the look for something that's going to be the next big thing in the next 3 years, the next couple of months. Why? Because all ideas are easily copied. That's one thing I've realized about almost all my clients. When TikTok was just coming into the space, I used to talk to so many and be willing to put their brands because the content was scanty, it was weird and all those things. But no, it evolved along the way. Along the time it evolved, brands began to invest in that platform. So inevitably, the people that did the first movers advantage had the opportunities to lock down almost all these clients. Secondly, look for platforms where people are ignoring the opportunities for making business. Like WhatsApp Business, for example. I switched to WhatsApp Business 2 years ago because I found out these people willingly save my contact. These people are the people that I chat with in my WhatsApp groups. There's a high chance they are going to be willing to buy from me or to refer me. So these are all opportunities you need to look out for when it comes to that entrepreneurial mindset. And secondly, guys, don't fear to get uncomfortable or get out of your comfort zone when it comes to learning from other entrepreneurs. It's very, very important. Even if they are farmers, for example, even if they are investing in business, in agrotech and all those things, find out what they do, what benefits they're getting from there, and look for these small nuggets you can learn from them along their entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. And then lastly, AI. Yeah, so I don't know how many of you guys have met this beast that they call AI, artificial intelligence. I love the subject very much because, one, I'm a gamer, I'm a techie, and I'm a nut. I like technology. So artificial intelligence is inevitable. This one you must know. Why is it inevitable? Is because it's part of our evolution as human beings. All of you have been using AI for a very long time. When you're using a Word document, when you're using PowerPoint documents, when you're typing on your WhatsApp to your friends, there's autocorrect for English or any other language that is out there. AI has been existing for a very, very long time. It's now evolved to a point that it's being used in our daily life. I don't know if most of you guys maybe have smartwatches, smartphones, and things like that. Siri on iPhones, all this is AI. Why must you embrace AI as a young person, as a business person, or as a student? You must invest in AI or embrace AI because the future of communication is AI. Let's say you're given talking points to speak to young people about the future of work. ChatGPT exists. Run that statement through the AI. It's going to give you very useful talking points. Why? Because there are millions and trillions of bytes of data that are shared on the internet at any given time, meaning you will have the opportunity to pick from a huge pot of resources that are out there in the internet. It's free learning. Right now, they've included this Meta AI on your WhatsApp. Some of you that have WhatsApp that is up to date, there's Meta AI. There was Snapchat AI called My AI. There's AI on X. There's Grammarly, there's Gemini, there's Canva, there's all these other AIs that are out there. AI is here to improve the way you work. But don't get me wrong, those that are bad workers, AI is going to take your jobs. For instance, if you're a horrible designer, AI is going to design better than you any given day. That one I can tell you for free. Why? It's going to be faster. It's going to reference the right models to put in the artwork. And secondly, it's going to deliver based on exactly what the brief meant. But as a brilliant designer who is very creative, you have the ability to put in the right filters. You have the ability to put in the right language or the right examples. So the output of Danze's AI graphics are going to be different from the output of another person's AI who does not understand how to put in the right parameters. That's just the one thing about AI that you must know. I think about AI is it's when you embrace AI, it's going to make things faster and more efficient for you. Efficiency for an entrepreneur, for a business owner is very important. Why? It's going to limit the amount of time that you convert a lead into, let's say, a final sell. There's this crazy thing that we do on NBS right now. We used to have a lot of spelling errors when it came to the news tags you see on TV until we input artificial intelligence. So the computer auto-generates the phrases from audio and from the visual that it's speaking. So we limited errors in that case. Don't get me wrong, AI has its disadvantages, especially for Africa, because one, we haven't invested a lot of time in putting so much documentation out there on the internet. For example, if you ask AI who the hell Danze Edwin is, it will pick from a Twitter bio or it will pick from a public document that's out there, let's say on a website. But if you put in AI from someone, let's say Sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria, or in the Americas, you'll get a bit more accurate information. So you can't avoid AI. There are multiple examples of AI that you should learn to use. I'll post some of them in the chat here for you guys to use. Presentation making, use AI. It's free of charge. Paid for AI gives you a lot more benefit, but for your cases right now, since you're young people, use as many free AI tools as possible. But I must say the ethics of AI is don't use it when you're submitting your exams. Don't use it when don't plagiarize. So be a bit more aware that plagiarism is very easy when it comes to AI. For example, if you put into ChatGPT, how do I approach this science project? And you put its name, and all 6 of you do the same exact thing, you're going to get the same exact results. So you need to understand how to filter and use it in a much more effective way. But AI is here, you can't avoid it. It's going to be, even if you don't have a smartphone, these computers, I'm using a PC right now, it's inbuilt with AI that's already listening and measuring my consumer behaviors and how many times I use the computer, how much screen time I have. So it's inevitable. Don't fight it per se, just kind of be aware of it. Yeah, so I think we've kind of touched on almost all the points that I had to. Thank you very much for listening to me. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Edwin. Thank you so much. I believe we've learned a lot. Key highlight areas that he touched on were adaptability, continuous learning, networking, and AI. He encouraged us to learn as much as we can, to not be hesitant to change, learn and move on with our trends, and also invest in mentorship because you're not going to be always doing the same thing forever. So learn from those who have been there before us. Thank you so much. That was very, very insightful. If you have any questions, please note them down We're going to have a Q&A session after our second facilitator, and we shall allow everyone to unmute, ask a question, or you can also use the chat, and I'll do a good job to pass on your questions to the facilitators. Also, feel free to direct a question to a facilitator, or anyone can tackle it if that's what you want. Do well to specify. So we'll invite our next facilitator, who is Dr. Natalie Bitature. She is a Ugandan entrepreneur and also the chief of staff at Simba Group. And she's here to share with us also on the future of work. You're very welcome, Dr. Natalie. The floor is yours.
Hi, Natasha. I can't get my video on. You are controlling it.
Oh, okay. Let me see if that can be fixed. Bruno, could you help us fix that?
There you go.
Right.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning to everybody. Firstly, I commend you all for attending these kinds of trainings and workshops. They're so useful. It's super helpful. I still attend so many of these, especially the free ones. Whenever you see a speaker that's interesting or a topic that could be useful, it's always great to jump in and see what you might pick up and learn. We do have a lot of time these days, and it's about using your time effectively. So I'll jump into the topics I was asked to speak about. Thank you so much, Edwin. It was really nice to hear your views and your take, and I love how you share your own experiences from your work. And I think there was a lot that people should pick up on there. I'll start with adaptability. So how young professionals can stay flexible to evolve with the changing technology and job roles. I think that's such a key skill, especially in this day and age. There's no avoiding it. It's very rare these days that someone gets a job and is going to have that same job for the next 20 years. I think the generations before us had that luxury, but most of us are not going to have that luxury. You have to be able to keep learning, keep agile, stay flexible, and make sure that you're moving with the times, moving with your sector, improving your skills, moving from different companies, moving around to make sure that you're growing and making sure you're reaching the best of your own potential. So that's something I think we can't leave in the hands of our employer or an HR and say, oh, well, this is where they've put me. This is the job I got. 5 years have passed. I'm in the same place. So I think being adaptable is a mindset. It's about being flexible. You know, they say a tree that is too rigid breaks when the wind blows. So you have to be a bit flexible with what is going on around you and understand. I'm a big planner. I think it's important to plan, have goals, be task-oriented, do your research, but at the same time, as life is happening, don't be rigid and stick to your plan despite the circumstances that you find yourself in. I think COVID was a really good example to show how adaptable human beings can be. If 3 months before COVID, you had explained that situation to anyone, they would have said you're mad. But when push came to shove, everyone adapted. We all had to. Our lives depended on it. The workplaces changed, cities changed, our living arrangements changed, everyone's behavior changed. So I think we're all more adaptable than we think we are. It's just about having the right kind of attitude and mindset and going with the flow when it happens, being able to change when things happen. And I think that's one of the key factors of evolution. Those who adapt are the ones who will survive because the environment and the factors around you are constantly changing. If the economy changes, the rules change, the regulations, your boss changes, there's a new skill or a new book or a new way of doing something, you want to be one of the first ones to be able to jump on it and adapt and be a pioneer in that, so that you're one of the first to reap the benefits. I think that ties really well with continuous learning. With learning, I always say what I think is the most important thing when you're young is to figure out how you learn. Because I think when you say continuous learning, most people are like, I left school, I'm done with degrees, I don't want to study anymore, I hate books. I hear those things all the time, but it's important to always be learning. You have to keep learning to the day you die. Life is always growing and moving and changing. So it's about figuring out how you learn. Some people like books, some people like podcasts, some people want to talk to someone, some people want to sit in a webinar like this and ask questions. Some people want to watch a video on YouTube. You need to know how you learn so that it's easy for you. You make it simple for you. Life is already hard enough and busy enough. Make it easy. Put it in your newsfeed. If you use Twitter a lot, like Edwin was saying, make sure you follow relevant pages that are interesting and useful, not just people and gossip and music videos. You know, If you like using LinkedIn, make sure you're following the right kind of sectors, the thought leaders in your field, the companies that are doing great things in the areas that you're interested in. Make it easy for yourself. So find the way that you learn and then make sure that the useful information also just finds you. It's too much work to always have to say, okay, let me go look what's going on in my industry. Where do you even start? But if you're constantly following, listening, going to the right pages, listening to the right mentors, figuring out where the information flows from, then it's easy for you to keep up to date. And also you learn in a way that suits you. Just because other people read books doesn't mean you have to read books. As long as you're learning, you're getting the information that you need. Just because other people like podcasts, you don't have to like podcasts. Some people read articles. Some people want to sit and talk to someone. Go to a meeting for like a Rotary event or a conference if you're more interactive and extroverted. There are very many ways to learn. You just have to figure out how you learn and then make sure that you're actively doing it all the time. It becomes easier. One of the things that I love is online courses because you can do them at any time, at any place, on your phone or your laptop, at night, in the morning, whenever you have time, when you're stuck in traffic or you're waiting. And I think I've benefited so much from learning stuff online, also because of the amount of information that's available to us on the internet these days. So recently I started a platform called uketalearning.com where we do online courses that are localized, they're practical, they're affordable, and it's self-paced. So you don't have to wait for the day that the course starts or show up at a particular class at this time on this day. I think without my schedule, I would have never managed to do like another degree or a short course of 3 months of something. But because I do online courses, I'm able to do it at whatever time I want and I can. And it's been so helpful to me. These are some of the courses I offer on the platform. There's also 10 other coaches who do different fields and they're experts in their own areas. And so I encourage you to check it out if you're someone who can learn from videos or audios. There's worksheets, you get a certificate at the end, and we try to keep them practical, short, and entertaining. The other topic I wanted to touch on, my screen has just gone so huge, was networking. Networking is also a huge part of learning, I think, because you always want to keep growing your network. As Edwin said, it's like with brands, people buy from a person, right? So the whole world, it revolves around human beings. When you get hired for a job, you're not hired by the institution, you're hired by human beings who interviewed you, who read your CV, who liked your energy, who saw something in you. When you buy something, it's because you connect with the message of that brand, the person that has sold it to you, the person that has told you, oh, I had a great experience with this product or this service. So networking, I think, it's an essential skill. I don't think it's something you can avoid. I'm always teaching with young women and telling them, don't allow people to say that you're shy as a person. That is doing yourself a disservice. You have to be able to network. It's part of life. It's like saying, I can't read. You need to be able to get out there, to introduce yourself, to make sure you're learning and meeting people and connecting with people in a genuine way. I think one of the easiest things is when you go to conferences or you go to even something online like this, if you connect with someone in the chat, if you talk to someone, if you see a speaker you like, add them on LinkedIn, send a message, send an email, to be able to figure out how you're going to find opportunities. When you actively network, it's kind of like planting seeds with people all the time, all over the world, right? So they have a little piece of you, they have a memory of you, or this person was about this. You have to be able to introduce yourself and they'll remember you for something, or they'll remember your energy, or you'll say something that was useful or nice, or you suggest something, or you ask them a question. And it's a skill you can just learn and practice, honestly. I know it's easy when you're extroverted, but it still takes intentionality. I've seen people who go to conferences and they come back with like 50 business cards. They're like, aha, that was a success. Are you going to remember all those 50 people? Are those 50 people going to remember you? You need to be intentional with how you network, who you're networking with, why you're networking, what story are you telling them? What are they going to remember about you? Why should they think of you when there's a job or an opportunity? And so the more you practice that, the more seeds you're planting out there. And then eventually you start to reap the benefits from those seeds. For example, all the boards I sit on, I was invited to sit on that board because of someone I knew who had recommended me for that, or awards that you win, or all kinds of opportunities, whether it's a job or it's a bid, it's a contract, it's a deal. You want doors to open for you. And those doors have to open in rooms where you're not yet there. So it has to be someone else advocating for you. So it's important that you have a good reputation. Like Edwin said, his work speaks for him. When someone is talking about who you are, they need to be able to say, yes, this person is a hard worker. This is what they've delivered. This is the quality of what they can bring. and you need to put in the effort to network. Because unfortunately, it's not going to happen by itself. You need to get out there. That's why I encourage people to join organizations like Rotary, like BNI, like Hardworking Women, so that you're meeting other people who are in your sector or with your same mindset, who are learning, who are growing. One of the things I encourage young women to do is to attend conferences together. It can be intimidating. You're not sure. It's, difficult, especially if it's the first few times you're trying to do it. But there's so many events. If you follow the right pages, if you look out on Twitter, there's always stuff like this going on. You follow something like Bakash Media, they're constantly telling you different things you can go to learn, to meet each other, different workshops. Networking is a key skill. It's not something you can dodge or avoid. I would really encourage you to be intentional about it and make sure you've practiced how you introduce yourself to someone. Make sure you can introduce yourself, tell them about your background, your skill without talking for 10 minutes nonstop. Quick, simple, an elevator pitch for yourself. Make sure that you're putting yourself out there. Give yourself a target. At least once in this month, I'm going to attend a workshop or an event or a meeting or a conference that I would not normally have gone to. So by the end of the year, you can see, oh, wow, I've grown my network. I've grown my reach. Because also your network brings opportunities to you. There's a really good TED Talk called 30 is not the new 20, I think, by Meg J. And she talks about the power of secondary ties. You see, your first level of ties is everyone who you know in your life, your family, your friends, the people who you know directly. But your secondary ties are the people who you know, who they know. So most opportunities in your life are going to come from your secondary ties. Of course, if your parents could give you a job, they would give it to you. Of course, if your sister could be the one to buy all the products in your company, she would buy it. But that's not how the world works. So you need the power of your secondary ties. All your sister's friends should know about your business. All your parents' friends should know when you need a job. So she talks about it from a psychological perspective and also from statistics. Most people marry someone in their secondary network. Most people get jobs from people in their secondary network because that's where the opportunities lie. And that's a much bigger network than your individual network. I haven't explained it as well as her. I suggest you look for the TED Talk, but there's a lot of power in your network, and the opportunities that are going to make a difference and an impact in your life are in your network. So it's not just about the skills you have. You need to be learning, you need to be adaptable so that you have the reputation, the skills, the ability, so someone can vouch for you. When I send someone's CV to a friend and say, oh, since you're interviewing for this job, please consider this person, I have to be confident that that person is not going to embarrass me. They're going to deliver. They're going to show up on time. They're going to work hard. Their work is going to be of good quality. But it's through the network that they ask me, oh, you know this person who works at this company, and I see that there's this job opportunity. Help me to connect me there. That is the power of your networking, and it gives you an advantage. And the truth is, human beings are all corruptible. Not in a bad way. I'm not saying pay for jobs and stuff, but of course they'll do you that favor and consider the CV because it came from you or because it's a friend. That's the difference between cold calls and warm introductions. So your network is just about giving yourself the best opportunity and the best chance, but you still have to deliver. You still have to be good at what you're doing, but don't make life harder for yourself where your CV is sitting in a pile of 100 CVs and no one has any incentive to look out for it at all. The last topic is the entrepreneurial mindset. I love this idea because as an entrepreneur, I use this mindset for everything that I do. There's actually a word these days I've seen a lot of American companies hire for, intrapreneurs, where they want you to be an entrepreneur in the company. You're an employee, but you think like an entrepreneur. And I like that because it highlights the value of an entrepreneurial mindset. An entrepreneurial mindset to me is being a problem solver, being action-oriented. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you don't have a boss to turn to, help me, this is the problem. This is the biggest difference I see in when I'm working in like a company with the teams that I have, and when you work in a business, like a small startup. In a business, everyone on the team has every job. You can't say this is HR's problem, this is the accountant's problem, this is this one's problem. When there's a day for sales, everybody's in the field. When there's a problem, we're all working on it. Anyone can answer the phone and answer the questions. Anyone can talk to a customer. Anyone can write down the numbers of what we sold. But in a company, everything is organized, there's structures and hierarchies. There's always someone else to push the problem to. Let me first consult with the audit team. Let me first see what HR's feedback is. And yet in a business, you don't have that luxury. So I feel like an entrepreneurial mindset means you have to solve your problems yourself. You have no one to turn to and say, oh, I don't know, this one has defeated me. Let's wait and see. So you have to be able to take it on for yourself and see how to tackle problems and handle them for yourself. You become solution oriented. You see the challenge, you see the problem, there's an angry customer, the order is late, you can't find the supplier, this person is sick, it's up to you to solve it. And when you have that entrepreneurial mindset, even when you work in a company, you deliver results. You are a better performer. Your managers will appreciate it. Your team will appreciate it, because those are the people that go above and beyond, that take initiative, that they bring energy to the team. They have different ideas. They see different problems. They offer to do different things. They come earlier, they stay later. So having that entrepreneurial mindset, it's that initiative that comes from you. You're not waiting for someone else to solve things, to tell you what to do, to give you instructions. And that's why I'm saying being action oriented. The more effective you are, the shorter the time between your intention and the action. The sooner you think of something, the sooner you implement it. You know, there are people who say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, and a year can pass and they've not done it. And then there are people who tell you, I'm going to do this, and in 2 days they finished it. And you can see the difference in their lives. So being action-oriented, taking initiative, solving problems, not waiting for other people to tell you what to do, to give you the instructions, to solve your problems, that is having an entrepreneurial mindset to me. And as an entrepreneur, you don't really have a choice. You have to do all those things for yourself. So I think there you already have it. But since this is about careers, it helps to take an entrepreneurial mindset. You're not going to get in trouble for putting in too much effort at work. That's not possible. Be someone that makes your team look good, your boss look good. You've come up with ideas. You're showing them what you're doing. You're making sure that people are aware of what you're doing. You're speaking up in meetings. You're asking questions. You're making life better for everyone around you. That's how you build your reputation, your network. It's how people also offer you more opportunities because they know they can count on you. You have that go-getter attitude. That's what I would say about that. I hope that's helpful. I'm still available for questions.
Thank you so much, Doctor. That was definitely very insightful. I think my major highlight was the fact that the opportunities that are going to make a change for us lie within our networks. So let's do well to invest in our networks and network well intentionally. Thank you so much, our facilitators. It's now time for Q&A. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll ask you to unmute, and then you can ask your question. For those that are not able to do that, please use the chat section. Okay, I see a couple of hands up. Isaac, please unmute and ask your question.
Thank you so much, the moderator, for this engagement, and I want to appreciate Bakash Media Foundation for this initiative. My name is Isaac Banura. I am listening in all the way from Mackay University Business School, and by God's grace, I want to say that I have been into the field of training issues concerning digitalization. And I have two questions, and I would wish the trainers for the day to really come through and guide us. One is about continuous learning. When you talk of continuous learning, Edwin, I wish to understand, we are in an era where they are telling us to learn all these things, but what would be your take? The continuous learning in regards to a specific dimension, or you would wish that a youthful person would wish to explore all the other sides. The reason as I'm asking this, it's because we have seen people that are into continuous learning. They're tapping this, they're tapping that, and they're tapping the other. And at the end of the day, they are literally nowhere, and it's like they're everywhere. So I would wish some guidance on that. Then the other would be about the future. The future, that is the artificial intelligence, the future of communication being AI. I wish to understand, we are having concerns like ChatGPT. Should we believe that AI is manipulating our mindsets, or we are actually the ones manipulating it? In what manner? I'm simply wanting to find out. How can someone of our age literally use AI in a way that this person is not just going to depend on it, that because we're having a generation today where every other question, they want AI to respond to it. And yet now, where is the skill of being innovative and creative of the human nature? Is it stealing it away from us? Thank you so much. Back to your moderator.
Okay, thank you, Isaac. Dear facilitators, would you like all the questions to come in at once, or do you want to tackle each at a go?
I prefer one at a time.
Okay, all right. Okay, I think we can address that. Just for the other participants, kindly try to keep your questions precise and straight to the point, such that we make it easier for our facilitators to get the point of what you want to address. Over to you, Edwin.
Okay. So I'll be brief on that continuous learning. Look, you guys are young. You have the time and the brain capacity. I believe you shouldn't limit yourself in how much knowledge you should consume. Personally, the way I learn is by watching. I wasn't the brightest spark in school, and I'm not ashamed to say this. I was never in the top 10 or top 20. But I mean, I'm not doing so badly for myself right now. Why did that change? Is because I allowed myself to learn things I don't know. As something as simple as THEIR, their thing, versus THERE, there. Small things like this used to bother me because of my mental intellect. But then I found out that why I wasn't good in school was because there was a lot of reading, man. And I never used to immerse myself in the subjects or the topics. So I found what works for me is listening podcasts, but at the same time, watching new things, learning new things. I'm a huge fan of documentaries and stuff like that. So I have a huge knowledge bank because now that's how my brain processes. Self-awareness is very important for you because it's going to allow you to learn much better than you would. You get it? So get knowledge on as many things as possible. You just can't be a jack of all trades. Why? Because you'll be giving almost everything 30 to 40% of your brain capacity. But you need to be someone that's aware of what's happening. For example, you don't need to know the entire cabinet of Uganda, but you need to understand how our politics works or our governance works. It's very, very important. I work in an organization of over 400 people. I know the faces, but I would say I will know at least 200 of them by name because maybe due to levels of management and things like that. So my answer to you would be have knowledge on the things that are important. Be aware of your industry. It's very, very important that you're aware of your industry, but you can't learn everything. I'll never be a neuroscientist, but I know what they do. You get me, eh? Yeah. The second thing is about the ethics of AI. Look, artificial intelligence we made it. Why do I say we made it? We've given it the instructions. AI is basically a series of algorithms you give a machine to allow it to learn. For example, if you go to ChatGPT, OpenAI means there's so many people out there in the world that are inputting messages right now into ChatGPT. So it collects all that data and gives you an actual solution. So yes, the answer to you is right now as it stands, AI is something that we have control over. We are teaching it. But remember, like all things that evolve, they are going to learn. It will inevitably be self-sustaining, something they have not yet been able to achieve. At least that's what they tell us. So when it comes to innovation and ingenuity and creativity, imagine Picasso, who was a brilliant artist, had the ability to produce so many art pieces with the imagination that he has. The ethics of AI dictate that every time you're going to apply it in your business, your workspace or university, or whatever it is, you must set the do's and don'ts in doing this. I'm sure you have seen, you can easily tell when something is AI generated when it comes to art, but it's difficult for you to know whether something is AI generated when it comes to text, because you're a human being, you have that touch, you can see authentic stuff and fake stuff, especially if you're aware of this one, you've given yourself an opportunity to know these things. So your question of the innovation is, I'm going to get ahead of you if I am applying AI. in terms of creativity. Because, for example, as a marketer, I'm competing with other marketers. I have to push my brand NBS versus a brand like NTV. If I apply AI to my solutions and ask it, how do I push this new TV show that has women, that airs at this time, that talks about this thing effectively in a Ugandan market? I'm speeding my process by asking the AI, because there's so much research and data that's out on the internet. You as a traditional marketer, if you don't include AI, I am already hours and days ahead of you, because now you're going to go back and do research. You get me? Eh? So use it in that way. Get it? But the ethics of AI are all still being studied. Like, so you see me, these guys are in court. TikTok right now is in court to be banned from the US because why? It's studied that Gen Z and millennial consumption habits on the internet. All that data is available to Binance or to the companies that built TikTok. So that's where the ethics come in. Where's the data going? Where's your phone number, your email address? Where are your videos, intimate moments that you're sharing on the internet? Where are they being stored? Meta AI on your WhatsApp has all your phone contacts, who you frequently text, what your favorite emoji is, and all those things. So where the data ends up is where the ethics would be, or the questions would be. But for now, I strongly advise you to learn how to use AI, because it's going to help you so much in advancing your career and the things that you need to do. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Edwin. Doctor, would you like to add anything onto that?
I would just like to thank Edwin. He has explained it so well, and he has shared so many useful resources in the chat. I really hope everyone goes and copies all of them and take some time to play around with them, practice, learn, get comfortable. Don't fear AI. It's coming. It's here. We can't avoid it. Get used to it.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Any other question? Feel free to use the chat as well. We'll pass on your question to the facilitators. If you have a question, kindly raise your hand and we'll unmute you and then you can ask. We were encouraged to speak up and ask questions, because if you're learning and you don't ask questions, that means either you got everything or you didn't get anything. So which side are we on? Any questions? Okay. Akatukwaza, please unmute your mic and speak. Akatukwaza, could you please unmute your mic? Okay, in the meantime, as she does that, we have another question on the chat. From Rebecca Mtoni, and she says, in a world filled with countless interests, how are the trainers able to discover their passions and earn from them? Over to you, Doctor and Edwin. Someone is asking, in a world filled with countless interests, how are you able to discover your passions and earn from them?
Also, Natasha, you could maybe kindly welcome the three who have their hands up, then panelists can answer the questions at the room.
Okay.
Natasha, is that clear?
Yes, that's clear. I just don't know if they are able to unmute. I keep asking them to unmute, but they seem to not be able to. Gideon, are you able to unmute your mic, please?
Yeah,
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, big thanks to Bakash Media Foundation for these initiatives and the platforms for young people to learn from mentors. Edwin is a big mentor for, I think, most of us who use these digital tools.
Gideon, are you still there? I think we lost Gideon.
His name really sounds. I remember on X formerly. You can't hear me?
We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I was saying a person like Edwin, then when verification was still complicated, if you wanted to verify your X account, your Twitter account, they would tell you the person to do it is Edwin. And I don't think he went to school for any of these things. He just loves to be ahead for always is precise and specific. What is the applicability of artificial intelligence in leadership? Because many of us here are leaders in different capacities. So how do we apply artificial intelligence in leadership so that we can provide the kind of leadership that we are expected to provide?
All right, thank you much, Gideon. Doctor, we have another question on the chat that says, how would you advise young students in rural schools of Chotera district to harness IT for better performance in life? And then someone else is asking, how best can I, as a graduate, position myself best for the field of work? We tend to network and also try out many opportunities, but we always get rejected. So how best can they position themselves? Yeah. Anyone else whose hand is up? I think let's first address those ones as the rest put their hands up. Maybe we can start with the doctor and then we shall have Edwin.
Okay, I actually think some of those are connected. I think for finding your passion and also how to position yourself, it takes a lot of experimenting and putting yourself out there. The first thing I would say is don't take rejection personally. It's not you they have a problem with, you're just a statistic to them at that point. So don't be disheartened. I remember when some of my friends and I were in our first few jobs, one of my friends was applying for jobs. She used to keep an Excel sheet of every job she applied for, the date she applied, how far she got, the CV, the interview, the this, the that. Her sheet had so many applications. I felt, I don't know. It depends on your personality. Her she's very organized and it helped to motivate her to keep track of what she's applying for. How many have I done this week? Like that. Other people would be dejected by that. But eventually she got a very good job and she's very happy. So it works out. You have to just keep putting yourself out there. You don't know what's going to stick. You don't know what's going to work for you, especially when it's your first few jobs and you've just come off school. You don't really have experience in your skill set. So you need to try different things, work in different sectors, work for different kinds of companies, different bosses. It's even, I remember in career counseling, they'd say it's a two-step strategy. There's so many different ways you can do things. You want to work in this kind of company, in this sector, but you don't have the skills or experience. So what you do is you work in this other company at this level so that you get the experience, then you'll be able to apply for this job, which will then lead you to the job that you want. So there's so many paths and ways that you can do it. I think you have to stay positive because I think there's also a lot of like a mental health drain when you're applying for jobs or you're not sure what you want to do, you're not sure how it's going to work out, you're struggling to make ends meet. It takes a mental toll on you. So you need to be able to stay positive and trust and believe the right opportunity will happen, but you have to be putting yourself out there. The opportunity is not going to come to your door and knock on your door until you hear, come. But if you're knocking on many doors every day, surely one of them will open and to be the right one for you. You kind of have to put your own efforts out there at the same time as letting God also help you. One of the things I always say is deliverance, and deliverance is believing in something until it happens. But you can't just sit there and hope and wish and believe this is going to happen for me. You have to be putting in the effort every day, the small things that is in that you can manage what is in your own ability, and then let the world do the rest for you. If you're putting in that effort every day, you're looking for jobs, you're reading things, you're meeting people, you're attending events, you're asking mentors, you're re-editing your CV. If you're putting in those small efforts every day and you're trying, something will eventually work out. It takes time. You have to have faith. I'm not saying it's easy, but there's no shortcut to it, unfortunately. But you experiment and you put yourself out there. Again, it comes to adaptability. Don't be so rigid. The opportunity that you get, take it. Better to say, I'm working in this place while I look for other things than I'm been at home for 4 years waiting for the perfect job. Get out there, take less money, take an internship if you can, work in a sector that you're not so interested in, but put yourself out there, get into the world, because in that job that you don't like, you'll meet someone who can give you an opportunity in a job that you actually really love. So you have to put yourself out there. And I would say for the person in the rural area, use your phone. These days, everything is accessible on a mobile phone. And it breaks my heart when I see how much data people spend on TikTok and it's not things that are useful. Even TikTok has things that are useful that you can learn, that will teach you, that will empower you. There's so much information out there. So I would say empower yourself with knowledge and then put yourself in the right sectors, the right circles. Positioning yourself is not always physical. It's also being in the right chat groups. It's being on the right online forums. It's making sure you're following the right people on your LinkedIn, on your Twitter, on your Facebook, so that when there's opportunities, you're the first one to see it, you apply for it, you call, you ask, is this job available? How can I get more information about this company? It's also really about the effort you put in. And I know it's easy for me to say with whatever access or privilege I have, but I can assure you there are people from all corners of every rural area that have made it so far in life you could not believe the odds against them. So don't look at your circumstances and say, oh, me, I'm from a rural area, my advantages are not there, I can't apply for these things. There's so many opportunities. And these days with the digital era, you can work for any company in the world from wherever you are. By the time you've accessed us here, it means you have access to internet, you have access to a screen. That's all you need. There's what's called the gig economy. There's so many websites where you can be a personal assistant, a translator, you write copy, you edit things, you do graphics remotely. That's one of the advantages COVID gave. It made remote work accelerate at how many more opportunities there are. So make sure you're putting yourself in the right position online so that you're finding the right opportunities that are going to get you further and that makes your physical location not matter. What matters is who you are and what you're capable of. And through access to the internet, through a phone, that's all you need to make a huge difference in your life.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Over to you, Edwin.
All right. So I may have missed a second question, but I remember someone asked, how did we discover our passions and make money from them? I'm a creative, and at the same time, I guess circumstances have made me a marketer at the same time. But so my passion, really my passion is creativity, but also I'm a huge gamer. I love gaming. Like, it's the one thing that is always going to be that will pick me up in whatever situation that I'll find myself into it. So I love gaming. And right now, if you look at level 6, if you look at the biggest gamer in the world, there are a couple of people that are making over, say, 21 million US dollars. I love to tell this story because, one, my dad used to think that I was wasting time playing games almost all the time. And I don't blame him. It's because it was foreign to him. And he's a teacher, he's a math teacher, and he's one of those traditional dads. So he used to find it something that I do for time wasting. But right now, I would say since 2011 to date, I would say I've made about, say, about 100 million Ugandan shillings from gaming. How? I've learned how to use my passion gaming to get children in one place, and a brand will come and immerse their brand in there. It's the one thing that a tool that I've used when I do gaming tournaments. Back in the day, Garden City used to be the Eat More. Right now it's Acacia and all these other places. But back in the day, Garden City, I used to have gaming tournaments that would have over 1,000, 3,000 plus children, young boys and girls coming there to play video games. Mountain Dew would then pay me money to go and do drink sampling for their new soda and things like that. So it's my passion. I loved it, but I also understood that the fact that I can sit down for up to 4 hours straight while something taking my attention on screen, there was opportunity and potential in doing that. The other passion that I have is sharing knowledge. Why? Like I already told you guys, I wasn't the best student out there, but because I found ways in which I can consume information and it betters me, I found out that sharing it with other people betters them, and that's something I'm very passionate about. So I do that as much as often as I can, because if we have more smarter and more well-mentored and trained out there, Uganda is going to be a much better place. Africa is going to be a much, much better place. So that's how I use my passions. I don't just jump onto a passion randomly. The other one is movies. I've had an opportunity of working with amazing movie studios. I've worked with Disney Plus. I've worked with, I've done Marvel. When we're still doing the MCU, I've premiered 2 of their biggest movies here locally in Uganda, Civil War and Endgame. The studio gave me an opportunity to premiere it here at Acacia Mall. So I was paid to premiere a movie, something I loved, something that was my passion, you get it? So be good at your passions, you will definitely make money out of it. It just works side by side. The other thing about AI in leadership, the way I'm using it is because I work in a media house, we have a lot of tasks that go around. I have a huge creative team that's sitting behind me here. There are over 12 people. The one way I can lead them much more effectively, is by easily knowing who is having what workload. So I use an AI called ClickUp that shows me how many tasks we have, how many of them are pending, how many of them are completed. That way, I won't come with my lugezi and stress a creative who has a huge workload and add another piece of workload to them. So it's a smart way I used AI in my leadership style. The other thing is learning how to deal with different audiences. I have an AI tool. The other way I use it is to speed up my let's say, my briefing process. I use an AI tool called Otter. Otter is speech to text. You simply have to have the AI tool running on your phone whenever you're having a brief with your CEO or with your client. Let it listen to your conversation, of course, with consent. You must inform people. And then it will transcribe. The way I've set my Otter AI is I tell it to pick out the points that were best stressed based on tone of voice or how the sound came up. AI is smart enough to get those tonalities. So by the time I'm done with that meeting, I'm driving back from a client's meeting or whatever it is, I already have my brief well written out for me on my phone. That way, by the time I'm briefing my team, I am giving them the specifics. I'm not taking them around in circles. So find the AI that will be useful for you. AI for leadership is, for example, when I'm putting out content on my social media platforms, I've already run it through Grammarly. I'm putting out the best possible tweet or post on my LinkedIn because I want to be seen as a very useful person because I've not put broken English in my content. So discover AI. There's so many of them. I try to drop as many as possible in the chat. Then IT in rural schools. I think the doctor nailed it. I don't think I have to add much more to that. And then the one of the graduate. Look, don't be afraid to volunteer. Why? If you're a very good intern or volunteer, there is no way a sensible organization is going to say, oh man, that 20-year-old was so good. It's a pity we have to let them go. Most smart organizations will do everything in their power to retain you. Right now, I'm looking back at my team. My department used to be about 20 people. Now it's 48 people. I've taken on interns from Victoria University, from other workplaces. Some of them are from universities abroad. Most of them have come to volunteer because they want to learn useful skills. For example, like how to act in a workspace, how to associate with critical tasks, how to do public speaking and all those things. When I asked them, why are you guys doing this for free? They told me their schools have asked them to learn how to be in workspaces. I personally have done multiple volunteering roles, even at my big age. Why? Because, for example, I wanted to learn advocacy, so I volunteered at the UN and all these other places. Those skills for free, you will give more attention to them and you will take that job more seriously because the cost of transport, meals, and all those things is almost on you. And also try and spread your horizons out. I've seen programs from PSFU, Innovation Village, and all these places that are offering semi-paid for internships, whereby you simply have to show up at the workplace. These other guys take care of your monthly costs and things like that. But don't hold back. Give yourself a fighting chance. Allow yourself to volunteer, especially if you have the means to, in workplaces that you think are going to improve your overall, all that align with your career path. So give it a shot. Don't refuse. And what she said is very important. rejection is normal. It's part of life. You get rejected on a call if you don't have airtime. It is what it is. If you had airtime on your phone, the call wouldn't have been rejected. I've received so many no's, even with my multiple skill set. Why? Because maybe I approached the interview badly, or I didn't have a particular piece of paper in popular, like from universities that I didn't have, or because the other person was just much better than me. But that didn't put me down. I keep on trying and trying. And right now, more often or not, the more I try, the more I understand and I improve that thing about myself. So rejection is normal. Just always take it in good faith, unless the place is just fake. So that also exists. Also a possibility. Yes.
All right, thank you so much, Edwin. Okay, we're now taking the last set of questions, and then I'll invite someone from Bakash to launch the poll, and then later we'll take a group photo. So someone said they want to diversify their career, either in line with business management or with the current position they are serving in, which is information systems. So they are kindly requesting for recommendations of short courses they can take on that can help them to diversify their career into management. Another person was asking, hello, Dr. Natalie, taste and perception of customers keep changing due to new products, marketing, and so much more. And this creates stiff competition. How does this affect a startup of a young person? And how can they remain afloat or ahead of the competition? Okay, I see the doctor has already addressed this in the chat. So she said, know your customers, know what problem you are solving for them. And if you continue to deliver a high quality product or service, then you won't lose them to the trend. Thank you very much for that. And someone else was asking, they discovered their passion is sharing knowledge or teaching, but up to now, they're struggling with how to put it to use. They tried to open up a YouTube channel, but all in vain. Any hints? And the doctor did share some hints on that. So kindly go to the chat and look at that. Someone is asking, could you please throw some light on how we can use AI to better customer experiences? How can they use AI to make customer experiences better? I also see that Chalitiwa Alentasha, your hand is still up, but you haven't accepted the request to unmute. So please either unmute or, okay, you're now unmuted. Please go ahead.
Thank you, Madam. My name is Alan. So my question is, Doctor talked about the online courses and using the opportunities to study and get, like certificates and whatever papers they give. But we have a problem that most companies don't recognize those papers you get from the online courses. So I don't know if she could recommend for us the better platforms from which we could get papers that most of the employers will recognize, or I don't know. Thank you.
I wouldn't agree to say most companies won't recognize. It's about the skill you have from the course. So I think what would help you there is, because there's so many online platforms these days, right? All of them have different accreditation and different ways that they get certified. So you can't know which one from company to company they prefer. But if you're able to express that you know that skill, the challenge we have as employers, I'll tell you, like when I'm interviewing someone and they give me a CV with 12 pages of certificates, when I ask you questions about something in your certificates and you can't answer it, that's how I know you either didn't participate in that course or that course was not good quality, because you don't have that skill. You didn't learn. It's just a certificate you're putting in your file. So if you're able to show that you did the course, you understand, you implement it, and you're going to bring that skill to the company, then I assure you they'll accept all your certificates.
Thank you very much. Edwin?
Yeah. That last point she has made, I was that guy. I used to just put them in my CV and I wouldn't have the slightest idea on what the hell that was, but it just looked good on my CV. So I took time to pay attention to the things that we have, because some people do read your CV and do call the people that are part of your references. It's very important. Courses to take. I mean, you're living one right now. These guys have a very good idea. They are pushing something that's very useful. Their networks are very good, likes of myself, the doctor, and so many other people that they have networks with. These are the things you should focus on, because one, most of the employers are going to go through or going to facilitate on these things. So do pay attention to them. I remember she talked about Rotary as well. That network is very, very interesting, because people that love to give usually love to also share knowledge and are willing to, I don't know, do good recommendations. So make a very good impression whenever you get opportunities to do these things. Creative acceleration is one that I'm going to really vie for. Creative acceleration doesn't mean being good at the creative space, graphics design, no. Creative acceleration is a course. You just Google the word creative acceleration courses, and you will find one that's going to be of convenience to you, paid for or free. Why do I recommend these? Because right now in the marketing space, the more creative your campaign is, the better for your customers. Right now in the creative acceleration means you're going to talk smarter, dress differently, be much more present in boardrooms. Creative acceleration has helped me a lot in how I speak, what examples I use, and who I network with. It makes you appear more friendly to your customers or to the people that you associate with on your networks. So it's something I would recommend. The rest of them, I'm going to be dropping them in the list there. Most of them are free courses. It's something that I'd ask you guys to go and invest in trying to do, usually a week, a month, and all those things. But for PR executives, for marketing people, do chartered marketing or do chartered PR. They'll be very, very helpful. Most people are taking those, especially. They are cheaper than universities and they are shorter. How to use AI for customer experience. Remember, I told you all of you are already using AI by using Grammarly, autocorrect on your smartphones, and etc. The best way I use AI for my customer experience is by not intrusively tracking their behaviors on the internet. I make sure that every time you put a tweet, post something on LinkedIn, put a funny emoji or a love emoji on a post, it means you like that product. So what I use AI for in this case, the tool is called Meltwater. The other tool I use is called Sprout Social. The other tool I use sometimes is Brand24. They are able to read your patterns as an internet user. I'll know what social media platform you're more interested in. If you're a man, I'll know what kind of things you like or double tap on Instagram. Is it suits? Is it casual shirts? Is it shoes? Things like that. So I'll use all this data and information and run it. Whenever I'm running my campaigns, I'll know that this age group of 15 to 25 that are living in Kampala are more interested in these things. These are the places that they like to go to. So I use AI to best curate how I'm going to put out a post, for example, what colors I'll use, what models I'll use in the post, what lingo I'll use if it's a Gen Z, what slang I'll input, and things like that. So AI is very deep-seated and it uses a lot of data. And remember, open source, there's the word called open source, meaning it's using public information. And almost all of us don't have private accounts, apart from a couple of people on the internet. So use AI to understand your consumers' habits and best tailor experiences for them. For example, the next election that is about to happen in the United States of America is going to use all the data that has been collected about Donald Trump and whoever is crazy enough to run against him. Because to me, I believe it's going to be a landslide victory for him because America. And right now, they've understood what feedback they got from his impeachment claims and all these things out there. So they are going to use this data to focus on where to do their elections or where to run their primaries mostly. They're not going to bother going to Florida and all these places because that would be a waste of money and effort. Same thing with you. If you have a WhatsApp group that has 500 people, Olden Age school, whatever association or any other school that may be there, you have 500 people on that WhatsApp group. They have put for you Meta AI on WhatsApp, meaning it knows who posts the most on the WhatsApp group. It knows who clicks the most on these links. It knows who has more watch time on their WhatsApp. Meaning, if you're using WhatsApp Business and you're about to boost a post on your WhatsApp status, it's going to recommend for you multiple parameters. You should potentially send this broadcast and include this number of contacts because they spend a lot more time on WhatsApp and they share links a lot more than other people. So that's how you use AI for customer experiences. Yeah, so I'll just have to share some video links in the group for you to see it visually, to understand it, so that I'm not speaking to walls. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Edwin. Thank you, Dr. Natalie, for the wealth of knowledge that you've shared with us. We really, really appreciate that. I'm going to invite Bruno from the Bakash Media Foundation to quickly launch a poll that we'll use to share some feedback. Please don't leave us yet. We're going to do a quick group photo at the end. Kindly stay here for just a few more minutes. Over to you, Bruno. So we have a poll. I'm sure you can see it on your screen. It's just to give us some feedback. So it has like a few questions, about 4 questions. Just let us know how your experience has been with this session. Your feedback means a lot to us, to help us structure the next sessions in a way that is valuable to you and that is relevant. So kindly give us some feedback.
So maybe Natasha, as Bruno does that, I would like, I think, also to thank our dear trainers and facilitators today for taking part of this first training of our weekly sessions. So we're going to have these weekly trainings. Majorly, we are looking at 1 hour and a half. I think this session went longer, but yeah, it was worth it. So we're also going to have the physical ones that are going to be running in universities, and we're going to also to launch them soon. But we'd like to thank you, the audience, that have been here with us. I know this is quite tough because it's a working time, but our facilitators really spared time, and these have been part of our community over time. This is not the first time I think we hosted them here. We've been part of the community, and we've been partnering with them, partnered with Next Media, and they are our partners. We've partnered with Hardworking Women, Yukata. So we've been part of this, their community as well. And I encourage everyone on the call to look out on what each of them are doing and the opportunities they present can be helpful to you, because most of the work they do is for young people. And looking at the courses that Yukata does and all these meetups that Hardworking Women does on a monthly basis, I think these are the spaces as young people have to tap in, as well as Next Media. Most people are interested in the journalism as a career and pursuing it. I think this is one, if not the only one, a space that is really nurturing young talents into this journalism space. Most of the young people who are turned there, you've seen what they've been able to become. So I'm so grateful that they are part of us, part of our community, and we'll continue to learn and engage from them. And you can reach them out on their personal basis and really engage with them. If you really want them to be mentors or to join their communities, I think it will really be so much helpful. Yeah, I think Dazi has already shared the link. I
Yeah.
think that's his YouTube. If you can see it, then you can go there and check. So this session is recorded and will be shared on YouTube and all our platforms for those that have missed. So I think, Bruno, you're ready with the poll for the next questions. And if, Bruno, you're ready yet?
Okay, he says we're ready for the group photo. So as everyone turns on their camera, I request Dr. and Edwin to give their parting shots. Once they're done with that, I expect most cameras to be on, and then we shall take a group photo, and then we can depart at will. Over to you, Doctor.
Thank you for giving us all this opportunity this morning. I would just continue to encourage everyone here to keep attending things like this. Keep putting yourself out there. Learn what you can, meet who you can, ask questions, and have faith. Things will work out.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing with us. Edwin?
Yes, do this. Some of us didn't have opportunities to doing these things. They would have accelerated our careers much faster. So thank you very much for the opportunity to share. I always learn a lot. And then as always, don't be a prick online. Don't be that person that makes someone's day worse. Learn to say thank you, appreciate people when they post their amazing photos or their experiences. Don't be a troll on the internet, because we shall check when you come for interviews. And then, yeah, just make someone's day much better. It's just how human beings are. We work off emotions. So do something pretty decent for someone today. I'm sure the universe will reward you. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's very helpful. Thank you so much, our dear facilitators, again, for sharing this wealth of knowledge. We've definitely learned a lot. And thank you for your time. Yeah, we're good to go.
Our group photo.
Oh, thank you. All right, I think that will be it. Feel free to depart at will. If you haven't given us feedback, kindly give us your feedback on the poll, and see you in our next session.